Hi. Good evening, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to my live. Welcome to day 12 of Kreate. I hope you're having an amazing evening. All right, today's topic is very interesting, it's very special, and it is something that as a creator you always have to consider. Something that as a creator you always have to consider. That is your niche, right? Your niche. And today's topic, we're going to take a different approach because there are kind of two schools of thought. By the way, say hi to Sebastian. Sebastian is going live with me today. So there are two schools of thought. Um, some people believe that you have to hyper focus on your niche, and some other people believe that the niche is you. That means the niche is a summation of all your thoughts and experiences and interests and etc. So that's what we're going to dive into tonight. Tonight, I just noticed something that I need to correct. So give me a second. Give me a second. So by the way, just type in the chat. How has creativity been? Have you been effecting what you've been learning? How has it been? Have you been affecting what you've been learning? Let me know in the chats. Let me know in the chats. All right. We're going to dive straight into it. Today's topic, actually, we're doing something different. I think every day for the past few days, we've been doing something different. But today, we're doing something extra different. Yeah, we're doing something extra different. So, let's start by understanding what a niche is. Let's start by understanding the context of a niche. So, if you've been on the internet, if you've been someone that's interacting with internet content, you know that the niche is not a new, the niche is not a new concept to you. But I have some dictionary definitions that I'd like to read out and just dive, a bit into what that means. A niche is a specific focused area or topic that content creators target within their work. It's a specific area that people target within their work. Usually, when you start out, you hear conversations along the lines of find your niche. What is your niche? And then you start creating from your niche. And an example of a niche would be, imagine someone that does travel vlogs and they focus on budget travel for young backpackers. So that's an example of a niche, right? They focus on budget travel for young backpackers. So they can focus on um how can you travel at a budget? What are the essentials you need in your backpack? You can go on different travel adventures and have different budgets, have different, um, you know, have different things, maybe different ranges of budget and the things they need at those budgets. So definitely, in a second. Sorry about that. All right, that's better. So another example of a niche would be a cooking channel that specializes in vegan desserts. A cooking channel that specializes in vegan desserts. So this, notice that the niche is hyper focused. It's not just a general cooking channel, but this channel is focused on vegan desserts, right? And these are examples of niches. And I think in our previous videos we have explored other niches, right? For example, you can be a skincare influencer that focuses on old people, right? You focus on the skincare for old people. You understand? So examples of people that we might know that operate within certain niches. We have I try to get examples from different fields so that we can have an idea. At least one person, you might know one person. So the first example I have is Funke Akindele. Funke Akindele, we know Funke Akindele from a series, Nollywood series, Jennifer. We also know her from her own film producing career. And she makes content on social media. And we notice that her content is focused on comedy, acting, and film producing. Do you understand? So that is her niche. When I call the name Funke and Kindele, film, Nollywood, acting, that's what comes to your head. You don't think about football. You don't think about rugby. Do you understand? You don't think about something wide. You think about that specific niche. Another example would be Mr. Beast. Right? Mr. Beast is a very popular creator. He focuses on extreme challenges. He focuses on philanthropy and large scale contests. So that's what Mr. Beast focused on, large scale stunts, right? I remember one of the videos he did that went viral was the recreation of Squid Game. Squid Game was already a massive show, and then he recreated the games in Squid Game. Do you understand? So anytime Mr. Beast comes to your head, you think of stunts, you think of extreme challenges and those kind of things. We don't think of fitness, we don't think of health. Do you understand? And the third example I just have, because um, is a wild card kind of, that's Professor Dave Explains. Most science students will know Professor Dave Explains. He knows a lot about science stuff. Professor Dave Explains. Woo! So from his theme song, you obviously know that he's someone that focuses on science. He focuses on science education, right? So he does physics, chemistry, biology education in general. Why am I going into all this? We see a trend in the creator world where people have carved out niches for themselves. They have specific things that they create about. And this is a conversation for us, because if we are building a creator career, it's something at some point you must consider. But I want to bring a perspective to this conversation that is beyond just prescribing what you should do concerning the niche, right? Prescribing the ideas you should have about a niche. I want to bring two schools of thought, and then in a very special way, we're going to debate about these two schools of thought. And the aim is that at the end of this conversation, you would have enough information to be able to make a decision on how you want to carve out your own niche. So generally on the internet space, I've seen two arguments about this niche, on this niche topic. There's the argument that you have to be very narrow to attract your audience. You understand? So if I want to make videos about chess and chess strategies and how to win a chess match generally, right? I have to focus and hyper focus on that chess content to the end that people would notice that, oh, I create videos about chess, and people that are interested in chess will be able to identify and they will be attracted to the channel. Do you understand? So that's one school of thought. On the other hand, I've seen this popular opinion over and over, especially with the likes of Gary Vaynerchuk, Noski, some other guys like that I've seen on the internet. And they argue that your niche is you. That means you are your niche. You and the sum of your interests and experiences make up your niche. So today you can talk about football, tomorrow you can talk about your love for chess, and what makes the niche is actually your uniqueness. And there's the argument that people are attracted to people, not necessarily ideas. And to build, and on the internet we have seen people that have built strong personal brands from just being themselves online, chasing all their experiences, and people just like them. You understand? So there's that argument. And there is a balance, I believe, and I want to just get into, in a very special way, the two arguments. And there's a way I did it. Instead of me bringing out points from the two arguments and just telling you about it, I decided to generate a debate on these two arguments using ChatGPT, and then I used voice to speech to kind of text to speech to kind of have two people on the opposite side arguing. So we're going to just watch it together. It's actually text and just the speech. So we're going to just listen together. And as you listen, I want you to also position yourself in a way that beyond just the thrill of the argument, you actually gain ideas about the two different schools of thought and know how you want to position yourself. You get? So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and we're going to get right into it. So just for some context, before we go into it, I've made the premise of this conversation between two people. The first person is Ali. That's actually based off Ali Abdal, because it's someone that in the past has talked about niches in a very interesting and concise way. Um, about focusing and narrowing down on your niche. Ali Abdal, he's a phenomenal creator. You should check him out. So I've given one the person that is pro niching down. I've given that conversation to Ali Abdal. And then the person that is, with the argument that your niche is you are your niche. I've given that argument to, you know, um, Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V is another amazing creator. If he has some interesting things about him. You find out if you listen to him, but he's an interesting creator, and he's someone that I've seen push the idea that you are your niche. So I've given that other voice to him. So let's dive straight into it and learn some things. So I just have the text here like this, and I'm going to play the audio and we'll listen through the different arguments. So this is like mid convo. So let's just listen in.
All right, Gary, I get where you're coming from with the whole your niche is you thing, but here's the reality. To stand out in a crowded content landscape, you need to have a laser-focused niche. The world is overwhelmed with content, and when you try to cater to a broad range of interests, you risk being a jack of all trades and a master of none. Take, for example, YouTube channels like MKBHD. His niche is gadget reviews. It's crystal clear. His audience knows exactly what they're getting. People go to him for tech content, and that's exactly why they stick around. When you narrow your focus, you're able to build authority, gain expertise, and create content that's really optimized for that specific group. It's about depth over breadth. If you go too confusing your audience, it's like trying to attract a lot of people to a restaurant that serves everything from sushi to pizza to burgers. It just doesn't work as well as a place that specializes in one thing really well.
I like the last argument that he brought up. He said, imagine going to a restaurant and they offer all the kinds of food, all you can eat, right? It's more confusing for someone to go there. Like, if you want to get pizza, the odds are that if you like Domino's, you would go to Domino's, right? Or if you like a certain place, maybe Pizza Hut, you go to Pizza Hut. But imagine, if you like burgers, the odds are that you go to Burger King, right? Because the name implies. You understand? But imagine there's a place called All You Can Eat. When you are hungry and there's a certain thing you want to eat, that might not be the first place that will come to your mind to eat. And that's kind of the argument here, right? In the sense that if you are making tech YouTube videos about phones, anytime I want to make a decision about a phone, I know who to go to. In fact, I'm trying to get a new phone, and I went straight to who the reference, which is MKBHD, right? MKBHD. I went to his channel to check on his review on the phone I wanted to get. So that's kind of the argument here. But let's hear the response from Gary.
Ali, I get where you're coming from, but I think you're overcomplicating it. The truth is, people connect with people, not just with what they're talking about. You want to build a sustainable, loyal community. Then be yourself, and let your interests and experiences come through in your content. Think about Casey Neistat. He doesn't just do one thing. One day it's vlogging, the next it's filmmaking, and the next it's just him talking about life. And yet, he has a massive audience who follows him because they like him, not just his content. When your niche is you, it's not about trying to fit into a box. It's about embracing everything that makes you unique. Maybe today you're talking about productivity, but tomorrow you're diving into something completely different, like mental health or personal growth. The beauty is you evolve, and so does your audience. They're not just invested in a specific subject, they're invested in your journey, in who you are, and how you show up in the world. You think about Gary Vee, yeah, I talk a lot about business, but I also share my thoughts on life, motivation, even my love for sneakers. My niche isn't just about business tips. It's about everything I care about, and that's what resonates with people.
All right, welcome, Jeanette, that just joined. So, it's a long story, and we're talking about what from the beginning. Go back to the beginning because I cannot help you. But what I would say is that if you want to continue from here, the context is that we're talking about niches, and Jeanette, join from the beginning. Go to the beginning and start watching. Thank you. Let's continue our conversation. Let me know. Let me know. But yeah, I think one thing that Ali is talking, Gary is talking about is that, yeah, as much as you want to dial down on something, at the end of the day, people that want to connect with other people authentically might not necessarily they might want to connect with all of you. Do you understand? Like your different experiences, your different interests, and they might just want to connect with you as a person. And there are people on the internet that genuinely want to make connections with people, right? There are people I follow personally that I just like their personality. I like the way they think. Even somebody referenced here called, Casey Neistat. Casey Neistat is one of my favorite creators. And if you ask me, if you ask me, what exactly Casey Neistat talks about, is not anything specific. It's, a combination of his effects, his interests, his thoughts, his idea, but his personality shines through. And at the end of the day, his personality becomes his niche. Do you understand? His personality itself becomes his niche. So that's Gary's argument. But you know, let's see how Ali claps back.
Gary, sure, people follow you because of your personality, but the reason they stay is because of the value you consistently provide. When you focus on a specific topic, you're able to go deep into that subject and deliver high-quality content. That's why people trust you for business advice or motivation. It's not about just being yourself. It's about finding the intersection between your passion and what people want to consume. If you're too scattered, people won't know where to go for a specific solution. The problem is, with the vast amount of content available, being too generalized can lead to a diluted message. For example, if I were to start a YouTube channel about everything I love, gaming, productivity, tech, and lifestyle, I'd be all over the place. Instead, by focusing on productivity and study techniques, I've been able to become a go-to resource for people who need help with learning and self-improvement. By narrowing it down, I become the expert in my specific area, which is a lot easier for people to identify with.
Yeah, that's. Let's hear what Gary has to say.
I'm not saying you should be scattered and random, but what I'm advocating for is flexibility in how you show up. You can still provide value while being true to yourself and the things you enjoy.
Wow. I didn't know this had a limit to how much you can generate. But anyway, I'll just continue reading. Yeah, I'll continue reading. I'm not saying you should be scattered and random, but what I'm advocating for is flexibility in how you show up. You can still provide value while being true to yourself and the things you enjoy. Don't box yourself in. And trust me, Ali, the internet rewards authenticity. I think people want to connect with realness. For example, you could easily take your channel from productivity to tech or even personal growth. The key is staying true to your own voice. People don't just want a polished, perfectly curated channel. They want human connection. which is what I mean by your niche is you. The truth is, you can still specialize, but specialize in you. That's what makes you stand out. You are going to attract the right people because they will resonate with you as a whole person, not just because you can talk about one narrow subject. And let's be honest, in today's world, if you can't stand out as yourself, you would, how would you ever differentiate in such a crowded space? That's a pretty strong argument. So we're reaching the end of the conversation actually. And Ali, ends up saying, I hear you, Gary, I really do. But I still believe having a clear focus makes it easier to attract an audience and grow. If you get too broad, you risk losing clarity and people might not know what to expect. Yes, authenticity is key, but I think you can work even better once you've established yourself in a particular niche. And then finally, fair enough, Ali. I think we're both saying that clarity matters, but in a different way. You're saying find one thing and own it. I'm saying be the thing people resonate with. At the end of the day, it's not about boxing yourself in. It's about owning who you are and the value you bring. That's where the real connection is. I hope that was. I noticed at some point my mic was on and the sound was playing, so it might have clashed. I'm really sorry if that happened. I hope you're able to hear through it. But in any case, yeah. In any case, yeah, let's talk about it. So the 2 points of the argument are: number one, you should hyper focus on your niche, and number two, you should just be who you are, be yourself. And when I think about someone like Ali Abdal, when I think about most of the biggest creators I know, as much as they have a general overarching theme or niche, many of them are not extremely narrow as you might think. For example, somebody like Ali Abdal, he started by talking about productivity. He started by talking about how to study for exams, school stuff, right? And then he went into productivity tips and tricks. Do you understand? And at some point, he started talking about, because naturally from productivity, you lead into finances, right? He started talking about finances and all that. And then at, you know, now he's at some point, he started talking about relationship. All I'm saying is that there was a clear journey. There was a clear journey. Isaac the Creator is another example. He started talking about study tips and tricks and all that, right? And then there was the era where he was making these short films, you get. And then there was even the podcasting era. I think I had 2 episodes. And then there's this new era where I'm talking about frameworks for creativity. That's where I'm talking about being a creator. I'm talking about, I'm inspiring and empowering people to be a creator. And that's who Isaac the Creator is now, right? And what I've learned is that clarity is important, but clarity does not mean boxing yourself in. In my experience, this is my argument, this is my position in the argument. I believe that what your niche should be is an overarching philosophy. What your niche should be is a thing you want to do in the world. What do you want to achieve in the world? An overarching philosophy. For me, I'll say my overarching philosophy is that the media is a very powerful tool for impact. And I believe in empowering people and inspiring people to influence culture through media. I'm all about culture shaping through media. That's my overarching theme. Now, if what that looks like is me doing podcasts, or what that looks like is me, making short skits, or, there are different channels through which I can reach that goal. And that can look different based on my own personal journey and based on my interests, right? And I can bring in all sorts of things, and it still falls within this overarching philosophy. And what will attract those people are people that resonate with that philosophy. That's my own idea. Like someone like Ali Abdal. Ali Abdal's, I believe, his overarching philosophy is the 3 Fs: fun, freedom, and flexibility. If you look at all his content, it has been rooted in those 3 Fs: fun, freedom, and flexibility. Right? Someone like Gary V, his overarching philosophy is grind, grind, documentation, and business, right? He likes his business savvy. He likes the grind. Work ethic, and he also talks about you know he also talks about documenting everything. Do you understand? Like the grind of documenting everything. So what I believe about niches is that I believe I agree with the two arguments in different senses. Number one, I agree with the fact that you have to be narrow on your niche because you have to have some level of clarity. Your audience has to know who you are. And the truth is that a lot of times, before your audience knows who you are, you have to discover who you are. And that might require some level of experimentation and evolution. Don't be afraid to experiment and evolve. You understand? But at the same time, you know, I agree with the other argument that your niche is who you are. Not in the sense that whatever comes to your mind, you should throw out, but in the sense that um, you should have an overarching. There's a vibe there's an aura that you bring out. Do you understand? Even like for example, when I go to school, when I think about a certain person in my class, there's a perception I have of that person. There's a vibe. There's the kind of topics I know he'll be willing to talk about, right? There's the kind of person I believe the person is. Like there's a comfort in my class. I'm calling names now. There's a comfort in my class, and I know that, the things I know about her is that she's a lover of God, right? She's someone that you'd find reading books about. You should find reading Christian books. You find, being interested in talking about those topics. Not like she doesn't have any other thing about her. Not like other things about her are not interesting, but that's just a general aura I get from her. Do you get? So that's my 2 cents, and I would love to know yours. Thank you for joining us on Kreate. Today is day 12, and I hope you gain some value. I hope you're able to make better decisions about what you want to create about and the direction you want to go. And yeah, see you on the next one. Bye bye. How was today's session? I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comment section. Now, to ensure that you put everything you learned into practice, we are building a community of creators just like me and you that come together to keep each other accountable, to share ideas, and to grow together. The name of this community is called Kreate Community. To be a part of this community is simple and it's free. All you have to do is click the link pinned in the live chat or the link in the description. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow. Bye.